What's good, my people? Welcome into Buckets, Action Network's daily NBA betting podcast. We're in the workshop Thursday NBA slate. I got two of the best with me, Michael Fiddle, Kyle Murray. We're talking the two-game Thursday playoff slate. Knicks, Pistons, Clippers, Nuggets, both game sixes, both intriguing series. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk a little bit about overall the series overall, and of course, best bets as we record this live from our Tommy John home studios. Go pick up some of the stuff, guys. The underwear, incredible. The pajama pants are incredible. The t-shirts are incredible. Materials, nice, soft, flexible. Go check out our guys over at Tommy John. You know how we do. We get the play, we get the cap, talk a little series. We get you guys out of here. Michael Fiddle, give me your best bet for the Thursday NBA slate.
I'm going with a sweaty one. Give me Nikola Jokic under 50.5 points, rebounds, and assists. You can find it minus 109 available in the market.
Kyle Murray, best bet, Thursday, playoffs, NBA slate.
Yeah, I got two player props. Looking at Asar Thompson, going back to him over 9.5 points, minus 125 over on FanDuel. And then I got James Harden over 14.5 rebounds and assists, minus 130 on DraftKings.
I'm going to make it a trifecta with the props. I'm going to go Karl Anthony Towns under 34.5 points plus rebounds, minus 120. Get the rag out for Michael Fiddle and I. It'll be a grind, but I think they both get there. All right, let's get into it, boys. Let's talk the overall series, and let's talk Nuggets, Clippers, and then we'll go directly into some caps here. Jamal Murray shows up once again, absolutely lights it up. 43, 7 dimes, 8 of 14 from deep. In the ugly 52-80 jerseys at home, they get it done on the back of Jamal Murray. And we know when Jamal Murray plays like that, they're a different team. They're impossible to keep up with. He's the X factor, as we know. When he scores, I retweeted this. I want to get the exact number. Shout out my guy, Zach Noble. When Jamal Murray scores over 20 points in the playoffs, the Nuggets are 36-8 straight up. When they get production from that guy, they do not lose games. Game 6, classic zigzag spot. If you just want to go with the Clippers here, expect a Game 7. They're back in LA. Fiddle, you and I immediately booked Clippers plus 160. Complete, absolutely ridiculous misprice. I don't care if the cashes or not. It was a bad number. We got the best of it. I still think the Clippers can win this series. It's been an up and down battle. Where are you at overall on the series? How are you feeling with that ticket in your pocket?
I don't feel great holding a plus 160 now because you look at the other side and Nuggets are minus 210 and you could get a better price on the Clippers. I mean, it was a smart bet at the time. We bet Clippers plus 160 on a live bucket stream the first night the playoff prices came out. Before game one even started, they were a minus 130 in the market. Clippers on the road at Denver. We see them even yesterday close -2 in Denver. So really what I'm seeing from this series is just the greatness of Jokic. And I know I'm fading him and I'll explain why in a second going into game 6, but he's been unbelievable. He's coaching the team. He's bringing in DeAndre Jordan off the bench in certain spots, telling him exactly where to stand. Jamal Murray, was unbelievable. Westbrook has had some games and moments. Even Michael Porter, after a bad game 1, completely rebounded, literally in game 2. And since the injury, he's been, good for them. Aaron Gordon, is a Derek White level best role player in the NBA type of guy. So no surprise to see this Denver team kind of play smart, play incredibly well, be able to win close clutch games. A lot of these games have gotten really tight in the fourth quarter, and that's when Denver starts to shine. It's in that clutch time when it's close game with 5 minutes left. They'll pull it out. They'll win, a possession battle because they have some of the best players in the world. Now, I still think the Clippers match up pretty well with them. I think they're a strong spot for game 6. I think we will be going game 7, and it'll be a complete toss-up where probably the Clippers will be favored again, -1 on the road in a game 7 in Denver. We saw Denver go out in Game 7 in on their home court last postseason. We might be looking at a similar result, but I do think it's a strong Clipper spot for Game 6.
Kyle Murray, I think if you could ask Jokic what type of line is his bliss dream line, I think this is kind of what he would say. I'll take 13 points, 12 assists, 10 dimes, couple of blocks, only 13 shots, and we win the game by 16 points. The only reason he ratchets up a lot of these numbers a lot of the time is because it's an absolute necessity. It wasn't a necessity the other night. They cruise to a victory. He puts up a modest number. Now, it's consensus also that Ivica Zubac is the best option defensively for Jokic. And Jokic has been frying him for the most part as well. The guy is unstoppable when he wants to be. That is unanimously known. What do you think about the overall series? Denver now has won 2 straight after the Clippers were in control of the series. Buzzer beater is going to go down in infamy as one of the craziest endings of all time in the playoffs. Kind of puts them back in the series. Then they come out and blow the Clippers' doors off with James Harden doing a no-show, not being too much involved. Where are you at overall in the series? And can the Clippers come back and win this in 7?
Yeah, like you mentioned, it does kind of feel like it's one of these natural, zigzag spots where Clippers do feel it feels pretty good backing the Clippers game 6 and seeing this one going 7. But Fiddle kind of outlined it perfectly when these role players for Denver are on. They're just a really tough team to stop. Like obviously Jamal Murray, not necessarily a role player, but he had the big game. But when you look at the rest of these guys, Westbrook with 21 points in 25 minutes. Christian Brown had a solid game as well. Michael Porter Jr. was plus 34 in his 37 minutes. That's going to be a tough team to beat when they have all these guys clicking as well. So I think I'd still back the Nuggets in a series-wise scope, but it does feel like a natural, like you mentioned, zigzag spot with the Clippers, trying to force game 7 here.
If Russell Westbrook's going to shoot 50 from deep and 50 plus from the floor,
Yeah.
you could
Did,
just
did you
go
guys
ahead,
see
Phil.
him finger gun? Like, are we going to get a Ja Morant-esque Russell Westbrook find coming the next day? Because it was massive 3 followed by the complete finger gun with the 3 fingers out, the camera zooming in on it at the moment, holding it there for like 4 seconds, and then again on the replay. Like the amount of you know
Gunplay?
gunplay and ode to all of and all the people that are like Memphis backers and supporters who say it happens everywhere in the NBA. Mikal Bridges is doing this, Brunson is doing something like that. And so Russ, like it was a massive 3 followed by some shots at the crowd, quite literally.
Yeah, I mean, from the tip, it was kind of a big time no show from the Clippers. They had no energy. They looked lethargic. They looked like they hadn't bounced back from the buzzer beater, even though it was days prior. They looked lethargic from the start. But if Russell Westbrook is going to shoot 50% from the floor on 15 fucking attempts, they are extremely dangerous. Now, I don't think that's going to happen very often, but when it does, you could almost put a W in the column before it starts if we know that Russell Westbrook is going to play that well. I think, in my personal opinion, I'm a huge Oklahoma City guy in the West for months now. I printed them to win the West early in the season. I really bet them at minus 120 to win the West. I've added since. I'm very exposed on the Thunder to win the West. And personally, I think the Clippers are a better matchup for the overall West to compete. I think the Thunder beat up on the Nuggets, and I think that's a way better spot and position for them. I think they would favor that matchup. So I think for the overall West, they need the Clippers to come out of here for someone to deal with and beat up the Thunder a little bit before someone gets to that Western Conference Finals slot. So we'll see how this shakes. I have a double-edged sword. I have a Clippers plus 160 to win the series, but I'd rather the Thunder play the Nuggets. So I guess it's a win-win, but in a perfect world, I get the Clippers to come back and win, and then of course the Thunder take care of the Clippers. But we shall see. It's a fascinating series in a lot of different ways, especially with the James Harden thing, because he was beating back the allegations guys for a little bit. It's like, oh, James is coming to play. The playoffs are here. And he is now on the brink. If he has another stinker of, oh my God, this guy is a choke artist. He wants nothing to do with the bright lights when they get extremely bright in the playoffs. And here we are again. That's the conversation around James Harden. I am very, very, very interested to see how he responds in this game. And I guess that's a perfect segue to kick it to my guy, Kyle Murray. He's on James Harden, over 14 and a half rebounds plus assists. And then I'll come back to you, Fiddle. We'll talk Jokic.
Yeah, I was on this number last night. Excuse me. Yeah, I was on this number last night, 14 and a half, same number. And obviously, when you look at his halftime line, he had one assist, one rebound going into the break, finished with 13. So that just kind of goes to show that he was just pretty much a no-show in that first half. Did kind of bring it back in the second half there, but lost out in the last 3 to 4 minutes because of the game being sort of out of control. And at that point, when you're looking at projecting Harden in this next game, a lot of these rates do look pretty good. We've been talking about the lack of big time performances from him, but in terms of the peripheral stats, potential assists, rebound chances, these numbers do look pretty solid for Harden, and it comes down to bottom line minutes for Harden in this elimination game. Should be out there for 40 plus minutes very easily, upside to play 42, 43 type minutes in this elimination game. So if he's going to be out there for that kind of run, he's going to project really well for me. So it comes down to essentially just the minutes and time on the floor. When you look at so far in this series, he's cleared this number 3 times in the series so far. 2 bad games, yes, in terms of these peripheral stats. Last game I think is a pretty bad beat. Having 11 rebounds and assists in the second half and still not getting there. So I'm going to go back to this number here at 14 and a half. A little bit of juice on it, but again, I do think this number should probably be at 15 and a half because again, I do think he's going to be playing 41, 42 plus minutes in this elimination game.
And it's also connected for Harden. There's very rarely times where he just goes off scoring and doesn't add cleaning up the glass and the assist side. So if he can get rolling on one or two of those, I think the scoring will come along with just being involved in the game, be cleaning up the glass. I see this a lot with Luka as well. When he's cleaning up the glass, he's super involved on the offensive end and puts up big numbers on that side. Fiddle, what do you think overall about the play, and what do you think of Harden and what's going on in this series? Opens game one, 32, 11, and 6. Last 2 games, he's only taken, and he was 11 of 22 from the floor in game one. Combined to the last 2 games, he's taken 20 attempts.
Yeah, I actually have a little bit of concern for it, and I'll throw it back to Kyle with a question. Is like, I think a big reason why yesterday was such a poor Harden performance and why he went into halftime with one is because he was a primary defender on Jokic. I mean, they were using him and letting Zubac kind of be that Time Lord, Boston Celtics, put the big in the dunker spot, put a smaller guy on the big, and have someone slide over. And so we saw Harden kind of bodying up Jokic anytime he would catch the ball above the at the free throw line, at the elbow, slightly above the break, as he's initiating his pick and roll with Jamal Murray. It's really Harden that's guarding him. So I don't know how Harden's going to generate the same kind of defensive rebounding opportunities. This isn't like he's kind of guarding a guard and roaming and shading in to try and get that defensive rebound to start a transition. He's bodying up with Jokic. And so I think you're going to rely on more Zubac sliding over, who was a terrible rebounder yesterday, and hoping that other guys crash the glass. But I think the way that they're using Harden specifically takes him out of that rebounding position. So I would almost wonder how Kyle responds to that, if he thinks that was a factor in yesterday, and if it's worth kind of looking just assist or adding in the points angle to it too, because I think the rebounding opportunities are going to be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good point. I think for the main driver of this number, it would be the assist. It's a really good assist spot here for the Nuggets or against the Nuggets, allowing the third most potential assist opportunities throughout the course of the regular season. So that number does kind of drive it. But I mean, Harden still had 8 rebounds last night. I know he only had one at the break, but still finishing with 8. And again, coming down to just being out there on the floor for as much as I think he's going to be. I think the number is just underrated in the market because, again, I'm just projecting for such heavy minutes in this spot. And I know the books aren't, they're not fools to that, but in terms of just overall trying to find spots where this is a value, this number is actually at 15 and a half. The majority of books, so getting it at 14 and a half here on DraftKings with that rebound and assist number is kind of where I'm finding the value.
Sweet. Yeah, that's I'll just go. Sean, can I go straight into the Jokic cap?
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's kind of part of it for me was seeing the way the Clippers threw a different look at Jokic, and we even had Ty Lue prior to game 5 be asked, "Hey, how are you going to guard Jokic?" And he said, "You'll see." And then he was like, "Oh, do you have any specific plans and how are you going to approach it?" And he just repeated, "You'll see. You'll see tomorrow." And then it really was, hey, we're going to put Zubac in the dunker spot. We're going to use a perimeter defender like James Harden or Derrick Jones Jr. or Chris Dunn at times as the focal point against Jokic. And the result was Denver using their role players, using their secondary stars to help generate a lot of these looks because so much of the Clippers' defensive focus was not only bringing one, but bringing one and having the help ready to send a second and to close the gaps on passes. So they're gonna let Denver beat them if it means Russell Westbrook shooting 50% from three, having 21 points, having Jamal Murray put up a 40 spot where he's launching threes, having MPJ hit some big ones. So it's really going to be, hey, can you beat us around Jokic and outside of Jokic? And so for that reason, and considering this game opened at Clippers -6, is pushed to 7, considering the game total opened at 214.5 and is down to 211. There's a lot of Clippers sentiment in the market. There's a lot of under sentiment in the market. So instead of following steam and 7 and 6 and 7 are the most important key numbers and following 3.5 points of movement in the total, instead of doing that, I'd rather attack this from the Jokic prop angle, which is still the opening line and hasn't moved. So I would forecast this more to go down to like 48.5, 47.5 with Vig towards the under. So getting it at 50.5, I believe, is just a very strong spot on the current market for this game.
Yeah, I think that's well said because in my bones, this is how Jokic wants to play. He wants to get everybody involved. He does. And then I think defensively, he's in for a tougher matchup on the road here in Los Angeles. And I think it's a Clippers spot, Clippers game flow, everything about it is rolling that way. If there was any number or any direction I would print this at, it would have to be an under for Jokic. The number's always going to be very inflated, and the casuals are always going to be putting money on this over just because it's fun, it's enjoyable to watch, and they know Jokic puts up big numbers on a nightly basis. Kyle Murray, any thoughts on this PRA for Jokic in this spot?
No, I like the way Fiddle broke it down. I agree with him that the number will probably come down a little bit, especially with the number still sitting at the open line. So yeah, 15.5 is just a monster number, and with the adjustments being made, I think it's a great call. So yeah, I'm there to back it.
Let's go to the other game. If you guys noticed, I brought up talking about Clippers Nuggets that series. I don't really want to talk too much about the Knicks Pistons series while the red light is on and being recorded and to give my overall thoughts because they could go off the rails because going into the year, things are of course different for the Knicks because they came in with expectations. This is a team in the Pistons they've struggled with in the regular season, they've struggled with in this series overall. I think overall they get it done. We got a couple of plays here. I'll hop in here with my play first, and then I'll come to you, Kyle Murray, and we'll talk Asura Thompson. But I'm going to go Karl-Anthony Towns. Under 34.5 points plus rebounds, -120 at DraftKings as we record this Wednesday, April 30th, 3:08 p.m. Karl-Anthony Towns, under 34.5 points plus rebounds. Absolutely nothing is coming easy for Cat on the offensive end. Jalen Duren and especially Tobias Harris are making things extremely difficult at the basket, especially for Karl-Anthony Towns. If you've been watching these games, the big games that Karl-Anthony Towns has had, he has had some really big ones. They've been from the perimeter, and he's been hitting some very difficult floaters. He's been hitting very difficult jump shots. Karl-Anthony Towns from less than 5 feet from the basket this series, he's 15 of 24. Sean, that sounds good. That's 62.5%. Well, the league average for teams is 66.5%. You have Jokic shooting 66.7%. Bam shot 66.7% against Twin Towers and on the inside. Hadn't played very well offensively for the Heat. Zubac is shooting 68.8. Hardenstein is 8 for 9. That's damn near 90%. So typically when 7-footers get within 5 feet of the hoop, the ball's going in the basket. So I'm not impressed by the 62.5 number for Cat when team league averages 66.5% from within 5 feet in that restricted area. When you move from 5 feet to 9 feet, little hooks, floaters, things of that nature, little post up actions over left shoulder, over right shoulder. Karl-Anthony Towns from 5 feet to 9 feet is 7 for 17, 41.2%. What's keeping him afloat is the three-point shooting has been absolutely lights out. He's 12 for 24 in the series, and he's only missed one free throw. The problem here is the three-point variance, I believe, is only likely to go one way here on the road in a Rockets environment in a Game 6 in Detroit. I think it's going down. And he doesn't get to the line enough. 2 or fewer attempts in 3 of the 5 games. I like Karl-Anthony Towns under 34.5 points plus rebounds. For this also, big reason. This has a Jalen Brunson game written all over it. Awful losses, Jalen Brunson becomes even more of the focal point than he already has. He's been doing this all year long. And everything is going to run through him. And I think if their path to victory is not Karl-Anthony Towns shooting difficult shots in the mid-range and 28-footers from deep. So I think this is a Jalen Brunson game. I think Duren and Tobias Harris continue to give him problems on the post. If you were watching that game, when Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart went out the last 4 or 5 possessions in that game, that's when Karl-Anthony Towns was supposed to step up. He got one true look where he went up against Tobias Harris, one-on-one in a post-up, and it looked like he was backing down Dennis Rodman. Cat made Tobias Harris look like prime Dennis Rodman. He couldn't do anything with Tobias on his back. He's been having a lot of trouble. I just think 34.5 is too high for Cat in this spot for points plus rebounds. If anything, I would look at Cat on over 2.5 assists at a plus money number. I think you can get like plus 160, 170, I believe, somewhere in the market. So don't quote me on that exact number, but I know it's plus. Matter of fact, let me just look it up really quick before I say
Plus
a number that,
154 is the best
yeah,
Cat over 2.5 assist number.
there you go. So I would much rather, if you're looking to back Cat at some way, shape, or form, I'd much rather look at that number at a plus 1.5 and change at over 2.5 dimes. Kyle Murray, since you're on to Stuart Thompson, I'm going to come to you. Give me your thoughts. I think, and also when we talk about the glass work, that's been very difficult. Duren has been cleaning up everything on the glass. I don't think rebounds have been coming as easy as they have all year for Cat. I think it's double-digit rebounds twice out of the 5 games played here. It's been tough sledding for Cat. Offensively, he's been overall solid, but it's been a lot of perimeter shooting and a lot of tough shot making.
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, a lot of his production has come from these, very even long range threes. He hit that one like 38-footer last night when Brunson got hurt, didn't make it back down the floor and just pulled up. That was a pretty big time shot there. But
Yeah.
yeah, you nailed it with the Tobias defensive call. I mean, he's done a great job on Cat all series, especially last night. You mentioned the one play very late in the game where Cat was trying to back him down and he actually blocked him at the elbow. So yeah, Tobias has played some great defense, and a big reason why I like this Asar Thompson play is because of his defensive ability. I think we saw it last night. I mean, Brunson only had 16 points when Asar Thompson finally is able to stay out of foul trouble. Played 29 minutes last night. He's in my opinion, the better primary defender for Brunson in this series. I'm hoping that the Pistons will be able to get him some more time on the floor. And that's turned into some solid offensive production as well. He's a guy who, you mentioned Jalen Duren being able to, crash the boards while everybody's trying to swarm to block Cade's shot. And then there's just been a handful of free rebound and putback opportunities. Thompson also benefits from that. He also got to the line 12 times last night, took 10 shots. So over 9.5 points. Again, I do like Thompson. I think they try to get him 30 plus minutes in this game. I think he'll get these fourth quarter minutes from Schroeder to be the primary defender on Brunson. I think that'll lead to more offensive opportunity as well. And again, there's just so much attention going to Cade and now even to to guys, perimeter shooters as well. But I think Thompson's kind of one of these underrated potential offensive sources for this Pistons team. Scored 22 points last game, and like I mentioned, I think he's able to get it done in scrappy ways, get putbacks, get to the line. So I like this number over 9.5 for Sar Thompson. Kind of mainly just banking on him playing more minutes for his defensive prowess here in this game 6 to avoid elimination.
Yeah, no doubt. As long as he stays out of foul trouble, he should be able to pick up double-digit points in this spot. That is the big question, right? Though he
Yeah,
has to deal with a lot of Brunson,
yeah,
a lot of
theatrics.
yeah, that's the good word, theatrics. I'm not a big fan of the grifter word, Fiddle, so I'll go with theatrics. How do you feel about points plus rebounds and then Asur Thompson? Because I will say this, I'll say it because no one else out in the media has said it. Coming into the playoffs, all I heard about was how Amen Thompson and Asur Thompson where they arrived and they're the best perimeter defenders in the playoffs and this, that, and the third. They had been getting torched until last game at the Garden where Asur did really, really well against Brunson. Steph Curry was cooking Amen Thompson all series long. Brunson was going crazy as well. Theatrics or not, he played really, really well at the Garden last night. I was there in the flesh. He was the reason that Jalen Brunson was having a really hard time. Fiddle, how do you feel about both of these plays we let out?
Yeah, I like them both. For yours with Cat, I even looked at the line history for that prop for this game. It's been coming down. There's been heavier juice put on the underside of that 34 and a half. Even lines that were opened at 33 and a half with Vig towards the over have switched to now it's a more expensive under at 33 and a half. So I think you could say the market is definitely agreeing with you as well. So I like the Cat play. I like the Thompson play too. And I think the angle of Brunson theatrics is very true. People talk about flopping or grifting. The most impressive thing that Brunson does is like he'll be dribbling up the ball in his own half court, like near the out of bounds lines, and like someone might put an arm. All of a sudden, you just see Brunson's neck just like he just starts looking up at the sky, and he didn't even get touched above the shoulders, and then he's
Yeah.
checking his nose for a bloody nose, and it's just like, dude, you weren't even touched. It's actually impressive. So some of these players like SGA, like, it gets called the grifter a lot too. These guys would all be incredibly amazing without doing it, but Brunson becomes all NBA with his theatrics, and SGA becomes like a baby Michael Jordan with his. So I kind of make it similar to Barry Bonds pre-steroids. It's like he was a Hall of Famer before the steroids, and then
Yeah.
and then what happened?
Hey, I'm a Pistons fan. I live in Michigan, so there's been a lot of talk about the Brunson dramatics. But bottom line, if Tim Hardaway took a little bit of advice from Brunson in that game 4, it might be a different series right now. So maybe needs to lean into the theatrics a little bit more.
Yeah, it's always going to be a hot topic. I even went as far last year. We were joking around, and the reason Brunson rocks those little braids is because when he's going to the rack and he's doing all this, his hair is flopping all over the
Yeah.
place, and
That's so funny.
it looks even more dramatic, right? It's like when you see a beautiful lady walking down the street and she's got the tassels on her skirt. It looks like it's a little more moving around back there. You know what I'm saying? It might just be the tassels. You know what I mean? So that's what Brunson is doing with those small braids, potentially.
Imagine if Elfrid Payton learned how to flop.
Exactly. He might be an all NBA dude. To recap, K1, Kyle Murray, Asur Thompson, over 9.5 points, minus 120. James Harden, over 14.5 rebounds plus assists, minus 130. Michael Fiddle, Jokic, under 50.5, PRA, minus 109. I am on Karl Anthony Towns, under 34.5 points plus rebounds, minus 120. We are recording this Wednesday, April 30th at 3:20 p.m. For Michael Fiddle, for Kyle Murray, K1, I am your host, Sean Little. Go subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page if you haven't already. If you're listening to this just on the audio, tell a homie to tell a friend to subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. Go check out all the stuff pumping out of Action Network. Tons of NBA stuff coming all the time. Tons of baseball stuff coming out of the house. Tons of content. Go follow all the homies. Fiddle Picks. I'm Chicago Flow. Kyle Murray, what's your
At KMurDFS.
There you go. For Michael, for Kyle, I'm Sean Little. Until next time, which is tomorrow, let's get buckets, baby.